Now let's get into our first discussion now. The Lagos State government has ordered the closure of all schools within the Ojodu Grammar School complex until further notice. Chairman of Ojodu Local Council Development Area, Segun Odumbaku, who disclosed the directive announced by the Ministry of Education, advised residents to be calm during this trying time. Mr. Odumbaku also asked the privacy of the families of victims be respected and the police be allowed to carry out a thorough investigation. He also assured that justice will be served as proper examination and analysis of survivors have commenced. You will recall that some students were killed by a fleeing trailer driver at the Ojodu Bega area of Lagos on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has expressed deep sorrow over the death of the students of Ojodu Grammar School who were crushed to death by a truck driver. In a condolence message signed by his chief press secretary, Mr. Boyega Akoshile, Governor Sanwo-Olu describes the demise of the students as sad, unfortunate, and avoidable. The governor sympathized with families of the bereaved students, their relatives, friends, management, and staff of Ojodu Grammar School. And the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has commiserated with Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Chairman of Ojodu Local Council Development Area Authority, Mr. Segun Odumbaku, families of dead school children and loved ones. In an emotional letter to Governor Sanwo-Olu, which he personally signed, he described the incident as a senseless and unexpected disaster. The former Lagos governor calls on the security agencies to thoroughly investigate this preventable and tragic incident. Asiwaju Tinubu says, and I quote, "This is a difficult moment for all Lagosians. I call on the State Police Command to thoroughly investigate this preventable and tragic incident and to bring swiftly to justice the man responsible." End of quote. All right, to talk about this, we have joining me journalist Dario Dufowoko. Dario, good morning. Good to see you.
It's a pleasure.
Great. And I also have joining me Ifi Onyegbule here. Ifi, good morning.
Morning. Good
Great.
to see you.
Honorable. Yeah, you're welcome.
See you.
All right. Now, this is a very sad time for, in Lagos, we've had, you know, we seem to have series of incidences of death of very young, tender school children in the last few weeks. We had the Sylvester Oromoni case. We also had the eight children who died and who suffocated to death in Badagry in a car. And then we had this incident, a trailer crushing students, over 10 of them, although I said now we've not gotten the official figure to know whether they, you know, the official figure yet. But these are a series of incidences that are really troubling for not just Lagosians, but all of Nigerians. Dario, let me start with you on this. One would say all of these are actually avoidable and preventable.
Yeah, I believe that none of the cases should have happened. And I don't see any of those cases that couldn't have been avoided. But unfortunately, we always have ourselves to blame after the deed is already done. Which one are we going to be talking about? Sylvester Oromoni? Bullying is simply unacceptable. And school authorities should know that when a parent hands over a child to you, it is actually based on very deep trust. Very deep trust. And when you accept such responsibilities, it comes with a lot of expectations. In the case of the school and Sylvester, the school failed the parents. The system failed the school because the school owners, the proprietors, the handlers obviously put people in charge of these young ones. So that's why I'm saying the system failed the school. The school in turn failed the parents of that poor boy. And totality, the society failed him. Because bullies are not born. They are made. Bullies are not. Nobody is given back to as a bully. No. After we give back to these children, we decide or we make what we want to make out of them. Bullies are made by the parents, by the society, by the system. These young ones who are suspected to have done this have been at it for a while before it got this bad. They are children of some parents. If you allow your senior child bully the younger ones, you are building a bully that will in turn inflict harm on the society. That's what happened in that case. In the case of the Badagry incident, expressly avoidable. We should, as parents, as community people, as neighbors, pay attention beyond just our own immediate needs and concerns. That those children had to suffocate to death without anybody noticing would take hours. And nobody noticed. The man who parked the car himself did not check back to know. The children are being looked for, nobody looked in that direction. They will have put up some little fights, no matter how young they are. They are more in number, about 5, 6, 7.
About 8.
There will have been some, I mean, violent reactions to their
or even some screams.
Or screaming. Well, nobody had. The society again. And then, let's come to Ojoju. You see, I've always complained about what I call the alarming age of today's tanker and trailer drivers. I'm not saying the suspect in this case, but I tell you, I won't be shocked if it's another 18 to 30-year-old or 18 to 25-year-old. In those days when we were growing up, matured middle-aged men drive long vehicles.
Trucks and
trucks, tankers and the likes. But what do we have today? Some young boys who should still be in school or should still be under tutelage will be at the wheel, and some smoke as they go, some drink as they go, and the way and manner they even drag the road with you, haulage vehicles. I won't be shocked to see a youngster, a young man behind this incident. The recklessness of today's road users calls for concern, and that's what happens when we don't take care of such things. Is in lack of, we don't know the number of children dead as we speak, but we know that not one, then scores or tens are injured.
Would have been injured,
so we need to pay more attention to details as it concerns issues like this.
All right. Ify, this is really a very sad time. When this incident happened on Tuesday, you know, a lot of people reacted to this. But how the youths reacted, in fact, they would have lynched him, or if the police didn't intervene, from what the reporter we got, and the truck was burned, you know, and then the road was blocked, and so many other things happened around there. Now, when it comes to, you know, Dario was talking about the system, you know, beyond the death of students, which is very painful to all parents, to all Nigerians, to all of us listening and following this development. When it comes to understanding the system, how things should go, someone is involved in a thing, we understand that the truck driver was even trying to run away, and then youths got hold of him and all of that. Talk to us from that window of somebody involved in something sad. You should be sober enough to submit yourself, in fact, drive yourself into the police, because there's a police station very close to the grammar school, drive yourself in there and report yourself. But no, this is not the case.
It's about orientation. And now that you've talked about this, maybe I should just bring it to the fore. I have a very distant relative, very responsible man, who was driving somewhere on the express. And I think that year he knocked down someone who, you know, just jumped into the road or was trying to cross. And what he did was, as you said, reported himself, you know, at the nearest police station. And, you know, the family members were called, and today he's friends with that family because they had to do the case and all of that. And they said to him, okay, you're going to do the burial and stuff. He didn't run away. And that was exactly what happened. Now, Dare has been talking. The 3 cases he's talked about, Badagry, the gentleman who, you know, was bullied until he died and all of that, and these school children. It's about the system. That's the truth. You find that people who are saddled with the responsibility of checking out cars and, you know, vehicles on the road, they see vehicles that are, obviously, you can see these things are not supposed to be on the roads, but they let them go. What they do is accost Nigerians who have very wonderful cars.
And ask for your roadworthiness.
Exactly.
That's
whatever it is that they're asking for.
They can see the one that is not roadworthy.
Exactly. Yeah, there and those ones are driving past. No one's talking about that. So it's simply about the system, so that we just don't overflog issues as it is. But I'm thinking government needs to do something. This is such a sad time for Lagos. From one to the other, one to the other, it just doesn't make sense. These are people's children. These are kids who were supposed to be in school, or they had closed or something. Now, when you're stopped, why are you running away? If you know that everything that you have is correct, is right, is up to date, why don't you just stop? And if you've done something wrong, why don't you just pay the price? But you know, we have this idea of wanting to cut corners. Whatever happens, you want to cut corners, you don't want to do the right thing. I think that's what has resulted in what it is that we're doing. But I'm saying that people need to pay the price. Whoever is involved, I think they should just go in for it.
All right, Dari, when this case happened and we sent our reporter to, you know, speak to people around the school, parents and all of that, we saw parents coming out to say, at least to honor the students, at least the school should close for a little while, you know. And it took a back and forth, and then eventually we heard that the school has been closed, although students are supposed to be writing exams and all of that. How do we balance things like this, though?
Yes, it's unfortunate that we are yet to learn that 2 wrongs will never make a right. I'm not in support of the protest, the violence unleashed by, they said, the students. But I know that environment very well. That's a place where within 5 minutes you can gather hundreds of miscreants, hundreds of hooligans. It's an environment where homeless people are both, and they are bound in their...
so it's a volatile area.
Very volatile area. From Jodubeda bus stop down to the Agege end of that long road, Ogba, Ashade, and all that, to Agege. That's a place you can gather miscreants. So I don't want to put this. I've seen some videos. Yes, some students in uniform were seen marching, but just right behind them, you saw another army of youths, as you want to call them. This probably engineered the arson and burning and all that. That is not the way to react to things when it happens. You saw, and you had the example made by Ife. The guy, after the incident, probably started running because he also understands that this is Lagos or this is Nigeria. He will have been lynched, burnt to death, and then evidence destroyed. We'll never get to the root of the matter again. Everybody will go home without. Now, talking about closing the school, students are writing exams. We have used one incident to affect the other. It may not have gotten to that. But beyond the issue of honoring the students, if the schools have not been closed, the violence will continue on a daily basis. Because I saw another video where policemen have to shoot into the air and expend canisters to chase away secondary school students. We are gradually moving in a direction where all layers of our society will be violent if we don't do something quickly about it. The killings by the truck driver is regrettable. The mayhem unleashed on other motorists, we saw a lot of vehicles destroyed. It was needless. It was needless. We didn't have to do that. Those are other families that were also thrown into some sort of mourning. They didn't participate in the killing. They didn't drive the truck. They are road users. They happened to be on the road at that time. That truck could have run into any one of them. They could have been victims too. So we need to begin to change the way we react when disasters happen. We need to begin to manage disasters better, manage our own emotions better. It can be very emotional when you find yourself in such a situation, yes. But we need to reduce and mitigate the harms that come out of every incident. The schools are now closed, exams suspended, peace is gradually returning to the environment. So I don't think the government was left with any option than to close down the schools in that vicinity, because the violence will have continued if that wasn't done.
And then putting more children in harm's way.
Yes.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about the bully situation. All these issues are related because they all involve children. School children. Now, there's a viral video of an American who the daughter was I believe you saw that video. The daughter was involved in bullying, and in his own way of punishing
the daughter. And she was thrown off the bus
twice. And then he had to make the daughter trek to school. Meanwhile, under his own supervision, he was driving behind and followed, but the daughter had to trek to school, few miles to school. And a lot of people had, sides to it, perspectives to it. Oh no, this is cruel, this is, others where you're doing the nice thing and all of that. What do you make of that though?
Wonderful video when I saw it, but I tried to envisage what that little girl was thinking, and I saw myself in her. You murmur all the way as you're walking home. But I think it was
you would do the walking.
Yes, I think it was a wonderful thing that dad did, and that's what parents should do. You don't have to condone what your children. Have you seen the way children talk back at their parents? And it takes my mind back to when we were growing up.
Oh no, you can't. No, don't imagine it. Because on that day,
the slaps now.
Oh my God!
I remember what it was. My dad. We had this conversation, and I left. And I slammed the door.
Oh my God! You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
You don't want to know what happened.
You
don't want to know what happened. But I think it's a wonderful thing that gentleman did, and parents need to understand that you are the very first role model that your child, sees and emulates, and the child imbibes what it is that they see you do. So it's your responsibility to knock your child into shape. Knock them into shape. When I say knock them into shape, I'm not saying beat, the living daylight out of them. But you need to lead them back when they get off track. And this is not what a lot of parents do. These days, you find that parents look for the latest gadgets and buy it for their children because they want to have time to do the things they're doing, chasing after money, business, and all of that. And you leave the bringing up of your children to house helps and strangers. So it's important for them to understand that it is your job to see that your child grows up and be useful to the society. You don't go about bullying other people's children. That's the truth. Everyone is born differently. You might be the very hyper type. There are other children who are quiet. It doesn't mean that you're better than them, and because of that you can get to bully them. So this needs to happen. The schools need to also understand that when children get out of line, I know you'll be afraid to lose the money. Did I hear it's 3 million naira as school fees and all of that? I know you're scared you want to lose the money, but you need to call these parents and let them speak to their children. I hear they don't, cane children in schools these days. I went to a Jakonde school. You dare not do such a thing. Because you have a teacher who's going to cane the heaven out of you.
Put you in shape.
I'll put you in shape, knock you in shape as it is. I'm glad I went through that. This is me today. But you spoil your child. Tomorrow, that child is going to destroy your name. Look at the names that have been mentioned. Those things are all there on social media. They are going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Sylvester will never get out of the memory of so many families today. And I think it's something that we need to look at. Parenting is key, and people need to take a look at that.
All right. Now, someone somewhere recently, a psychologist has said that the quality of everything has been degenerating or deteriorating. If you check it from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and right now, the quality of everything is degenerating, including parenting, including leadership, in fact, even quality of products in the market, everything is degenerating. Now, let's bring it to the issue of parenting. A lot of people want to show love to their children, you know, as a way of also giving rights to children. They have their rights, so you have your right to speak when you want to speak, because you know, you need to speak up, you know, so that you're not naive, so that you're not timid, you know, and stuff. But how do we balance it? At our time, the way your mom or dad looks at you alone, you are.
You get the message.
Let me ask
please take it up from there.
Are you timid? Are you naive?
Oh my God, I am outspoken. You know,
the generation that produced Gani Fahimi was the generation where they used firewood to beat children. I cannot describe Gani as timid or naive. That generation produced Femi Falana, produced Edwin Clark, and the likes. I won't say they are timid. Before their own, the generation of cordials, when they use cordial to chase children, the Awolowo Azikiwe generation, they weren't timid. You see, our desire to copy and paste without checking what is good for our own society is not just parenting, it's also the system, even our academics. Do you know in schools now, it is a taboo for a teacher to beat a child. That's why you see videos of a girl slapping and tearing the uniform of our own teacher.
Of a teacher.
And getting away with it. Until now we say, don't beat, teachers don't beat, allow parents to do the beating. Today, you just told me, parents don't beat.
Parents, so nobody beats.
Parents, so what do we have in our hand? Children who can no longer be scolded. Then I have seen people who say, are you all right at all? What is wrong with your head? And he was accused of verbal assault, infringing on the right of a child. So how do we now keep them in check? It's a big question we should ask ourselves. I beat my own children. I'm saying it on here. I beat them, but I beat them with love. When I beat my child, after a while, he or she comes to me, hugging me, he or she says, Daddy, I'm sorry.
We hope
I've established the fact that for every crime, there is a punishment. And they don't get beaten often, because by now, they know. I've been to my child's school, and he is reported to me, and there, I went outside the compound to get a cane because they don't have it anymore. And I came back and did serious flogging, and I left because I know they won't flog him. For them, we have spoken to him. Even if somebody annoys him, he's not supposed to react. So we want them both. I said, no, that's a case of fighting. I won't tolerate that. So we must understand the fact that discipline is key and is important.
Exactly.
If we do away with it, we'll come back to it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, unfortunately, we don't have all the time anymore, but the points that both of you have raised, they really strike the right chord when we're talking regarding what we're talking about. So let's leave it here. We look forward to a better society, better Nigeria, better country, and a better Africa. Thank you very much, Dario Dufo, for coming on the program. Ifeanyi, thank you very much. I might still be retaining both of you for the next segment as well. All right.